Welcome to SpaceFlight Insider Live.
Good evening, SpaceFlight Insider fans. This is Jason Rhian, your friendly roving Kennedy Space Center reporter, and I am at Cape Canaveral. I am as close as a human being can get to that. If you look at that white thing right there, that's not Jasmine. I'll introduce her in a minute. That is actually a rocket. That is the Atlas V rocket, which will be launching here in a few minutes. Now, I am very fortunate to be joined by one Jasmine staff. Jasmine, say hello to everybody.
Hi there, how you doing?
Now, Jasmine, this is your first time watching a launch, is that correct?
It is. I'm so excited to be here. I've never seen a rocket launch before, so I can't wait.
So, first time. I mean,
First time.
Any thoughts or questions or anything?
Well, yeah, well, first, let's talk about the United Launch Alliance's Atlas V rocket. What can you tell me about that?
The Atlas V, well, the Atlas V rocket in itself is the workhorse out here.
Okay.
United Launch Alliance launches, about the rate of about once a month, and it's usually an Atlas V, or maybe, an Atlas V. So the Atlas V comes in two flavors. It comes in the 400 variety, which is a small little payload capsule, or the big honking monster you guys see right there. That's the 500 variety, and it is huge. I mean, so that means that the spacecraft, the payload it is carrying, has got to be pretty heavy. Plus, this version of the Atlas V also has 5 solid rocket motors. Now, these are produced by Aerojet Rocketdyne. They are the AJ-60A, and they produce the amount of thrust required to get this beast off the pad and on its way into the sky. Wow. Now, your first launch, so you got to have more questions for me. Come on, you got to have something more for me. What you got?
So this is a pretty special payload, isn't it, from the Department of Defense? Can you tell me about what's on there and why it's significant?
It kind of is special in that it's not special.
Okay.
Let me explain what I mean by that. This is the mobile user, excuse me if I get this acronym wrong, the Mobile User Objective System for the United States Navy and Department of Defense.
Otherwise known as the
MUOS.
Okay. MUOS.
Like move over, but MUOS. So the MUOS, and this is 3, and there are going to be 5 of these puppies put into orbit. 4 of them will be operational, and then there'll be one that's called an on-orbit spare. That's in case one of the other ones encounters some kind of issue, it can step in and take care of the jobs of the one that it's taken over for. But basically, it's a cell phone service for soldiers, airmen, and sailors deployed. The mobile in that means it's like a mobile phone, like a cell phone. So it's like a cell service, but it's on orbit.
In space.
Yeah, in space.
Wow, so those have to be some mighty implications for the people on the ground, the U.S. forces.
The soldiers don't go to places that are developed like Detroit or New York or anywhere. I say Detroit, well, anyway, Atlanta or New York. They go to these really out-of-the-way places in the jungle or in the desert or in the, back 40 out of nowhere. And you ever think, well, how easy or hard is it to communicate with, hey, I got troops over there. I don't want to shoot in that direction, or I don't want to do anything in that direction that can hurt them. Well, let me, now, with this system, they can basically get on their service and go, hey, are you guys in sector 40 by 69? And go, no, we're in 40 by 68. Blow it up.
So anywhere in the world, even if they're in a dense forest, in a jungle, surrounded by water, anything?
Doesn't matter.
And does it cover the entire globe?
From what I understand, it should not cover the entire globe, but again, it is human-made, so there's little gaps and little things, and they're going to have to work it out. But essentially, yeah, it can cover anything. It can provide data services, video, streaming, images, you name it. It's almost like an internet in the sky.
Wow.
And they'll be able to relay data through the MUOS system to warfighters on the ground.
Wow, so that's better than anything that we have yet. Better than Verizon, Sprint.
Well, I don't know if it's better than, maybe it's better than, I better not say that. No, we love Verizon, Sprint. You guys are fabulous. You guys, I'm not going to say anything. But what they had before was the UFO system, and I'm not talking. Yeah, I get that a lot. It's not a saucer up there that's like beaming stuff down from the mothership.
I knew they were up there.
No. It was basically I forget how old that system is, but it's been up there for a while. And if memory serves, MUOS is designed to last about. Numbers are not my strong point. Between 11 and 15 years. So I have operational. Wow. The system will is designed to last between 11 and 15 years. But yeah, like you said, it can. They're planning this to basically really kick open the door in terms of what the data relay that they can do for the troops and the warfighters on the ground.
So now, the Department of Defense is using it now. Do you think it'll ever be accessible to other people? Like, will we ever be able to tap into that system?
From what I understand, MUOS itself is mainly between us and our partners. We have some of there are foreign governments that are involved on the project. I want to say Australia is one of them. There are a few others, and but as terms of civilian use, probably not.
Okay.
It's probably not going to be for civilian use anytime soon, at least not to the best of my knowledge.
So now, who creates this technology?
Well, MUOS is built by Lockheed Martin, and the Lockheed Martin folks, they basically, they designed the Orion spacecraft for NASA. They designed satellites. They designed MUOS along with the Harris Corporation. Trying to think, General Dynamics. I'm really putting my brain to the test tonight. I'm trying to think, and a couple of others that basically it's not any one company that builds it.
Okay.
Like Harris, I know they have these. They have the radar dishes that you'd see that the big dome when they transmit the data. Well, they have a method that it can actually kind of folds in itself almost like origami, and then when they go up in orbit, so it can fit in that payload, and then once it gets in orbit, it'll actually open up and they'll start transmitting data through that.
Wow, that's awesome. So now this is a similar concept for the rocket, right? They're made by different organizations all over the place, and then they come together somewhere to be assembled. Can you tell me more about who's involved in that, where it's assembled?
Well, the rocket itself, the spacecraft is assembled out in, oh God, I want to say it's in Maryland, but I could be mistaken. Let me just say I don't know where it's assembled. I'll be safe there. But long story short, we got fans. We're like, you ever see Fox News, Fox and Friends, where people are like walking behind us, and go, "Hey, Mom!" Look at this. He's blocking.
Who's that guy?
He's a ball guy. This is Jameson Knowlton. He's one of our production crew. Say hi, Mom. No, he's not gonna say anything.
Hey, how are you? Hey, Mom.
So, no, don't do that. Bad guy.
Oh.
No, you need to go.
Sorry.
People want to see the rocket move. You're blocking the rocket.
There's the rocket.
There it is. There you can see it. Yeah, right there. You can see the rocket.
Nice.
Over there.
So, yeah, it's like you said. Basically, what happens is, and I believe we have some video of this. Sean, can you throw up a video for us?
Yeah, which one?
Let's look at the one where they're actually watching. I think we have a mating of the actual payload, the fairing, being made on top of the rocket. So in a few seconds, folks, you're going to see all this awesomeness fade, and you'll see a video we've got for you guys. It actually shows the MUOS 3 spacecraft being mated on top of the Atlas V booster. I know.
You're alive.
I'm going to ask. She doesn't know what I'm going to ask.
You're alive.
Oh my God, we're live! All right, guys, we're back. We hope you enjoyed that. That showed basically it's the payload fairing. So you can't see the spacecraft because the payload fairing protects the spacecraft through the Earth's atmosphere, and it's being what they saw was basically being mounted on top of the rocket so it can get ready for launch. Now, Sean, our producer over in Canada, he's asked us to I wanted Jasmine to get in on this action, but of course I get distracted because I talk too fast and too much. And oh my God, I'm talking too fast right now. Okay, long story short is we are hearing of no technical difficulties that the launch team over at the Atlas Spaceflight Operations Center are currently working, nor is the weather any issue. When we rolled in just prior to dusk, we saw there were just lightly spotted clouds. There was no cloud issue, and the weather was at 80% chance of favorable conditions for launch. Yes,
Great. Good news.
We're-
Beautiful night out here. Lots of mosquitoes.
Yeah, the mosquitoes are eating
Some
us alive. There's some herons, there's a manatee, some birds, and it was funny. Our producer's like, "Hey, ask somebody about who am I going to ask?" There's a bird and a fish running from the bird. I mean, seriously. I mean, Jasmine, talk a little bit about what you saw when you came up here. Where is the Causeway? Give the folks at home an idea, perspective of what we're looking at surrounding us.
Okay, so When I look this way, there's a lot of water. When I look that way, there's even more water. So lots of water. Looks like we're on some kind of an island, causeway type thing. You can't see it right now because it's dark, but that way you can see the VAB, the Vehicle Assembly Building, which I think is the largest one-story building in the world, a very impressive thing. Yep. So we're really close to Kennedy Space Center. The rocket over here, I know you can only see a little glimmer, but it looks amazing in real life, and you'll see when the countdown comes. This thing is incredible. They have all these lights on it.
Xenon lights. It's just lighting this sucker up. I mean, it really. The sad thing is we don't have a very good camera for you this show. We want to let everyone know. They're probably saying, well, Jason, you know, your cameras for the first show, your EFT-1 launch were amazing. And for the last one, for CRS-5, they were like, not so much. And this one, we're like, well, guys, here's the thing. There are a lot of different spots we go to cover the launches. You may not, you know, you don't know this at home, but there's the NASA press site, which when we have the really big missions like EFT-1, we're actually there at the press site, and we'll set a tent up, and we'll have a whole schmear for those types of things. Probably won't be for about a couple of years when we're doing the Exploration Mission 1, which is currently set for 2018. And then, but normally, this is where we're going to be. Now, what we've kind of thought about doing for the last one, which was SpaceX, was we would be at the press site, and people got a great view of a wall behind me. So what we're kind of doing is, this is really test flight. This is a test. This is an experimental mission in and of itself because, like Jasmine was saying, we're actually on a spit of land that goes between water. I mean, there's the Atlantic, and there's water, and then there's a rocket. But if you look down this way, there's bushes with boar hogs, and there's a porta potty down that way, and there's shrubs. So, Sean back in Canada, if you want to talk to somebody, there's nobody really to talk to. The NASA folks are not here, of course. The United Launch Alliance, they ran back to the ASOC so that they can actually, launch a rocket. Sean. So, we're left with herons. We're talking to herons, and they're not saying a whole lot. But this is experimental kind of thing that we're doing. We're making sure that it all works. So, what you see now might not be all that impressive, but we just want to make sure we get all the bugs worked out. And then Jasmine and I will be here. We're hoping to have an even more. Hey, photo bomber, get over here. Come on. No, don't be shy now. You don't get to be shy. Soon.
I'm here against my will.
Yeah, this will be Jasmine's co-host. His name is Jameson Knowlton, and he'll be taking over the launch coverage that we do live from Cape Canaveral and from Kennedy Space Center. We also have some special stuff coming up for you guys come March. More story on that soon. What's he doing back there? Don't be making fun. He's got like these really cheesy, horrendous binoculars, and he looks like an old man. It's terrible. But long story short is, we're working to make sure that we bring you the best product possible. We're going to do this test run this time around, and Jasmine was gracious enough. She just got pulled in at the last minute, and I want to show this. This is beyond awesome. No, but she doesn't. She's not like me. She hasn't been doing this for 10 years, so she didn't know a lot. And I sent her some links. She printed up every page of everything, and like she has,
there's some really neat diagrams in there.
There's actually some pretty cool stuff that break down the Atlas V, which we need to do a little more talking about.
Right.
All right, you photo bomber can go away now. You sure? You good? But Jamie come back with us for later shows. But for this one, you got it. Yeah, this is something we want to kind of talk a bit about because Jamie's. See, you distracted me, man. You are so not cool. Basically, long story short, if you look at that, so two different versions of the Atlas V. And again, thank you, Canada man. See, different.
1, 2.
Yeah. All right. You see that? Can you still hear me? I'm looking in and the first one, if you'll notice, is the 400 There's basically the Atlas V rocket is broken into different kinds of families. You have the 400 series and the 500 series. Now, the 400 series, it's usually for smaller spacecraft. Okay. So, like you can see, it's this little bitty cone thing. It's not really that impressive. It's right here. It's this itty bitty little. And I think you're seeing a big white page right now. I'm trying to get it in there. But anyway, the fairing's kind of tiny. But then you look down here, and this thing is a monster. Now, this is what this one's got. This is the 551. This is the big bad boy of the Atlas family. Again, I'm going to test my correspondent. You think she's ready, folks? Who doesn't think she's ready? Who? You? Yeah. Sean says he doesn't think you're ready. What does the first 5 in 551 mean?
Okay, let me just show you. The first 5 is these fairings here.
Right. And where were they made?
They were made in Zurich. Can you believe that? The home of chocolate and rocket pieces.
Not rocket pieces, but watches. But if you look, it does not say anywhere on there that they are made in Zurich. I'm going to keep this.
And the next part, the second part is, it's not called the shooters.
It's not called the shooters. It's called the
solids.
Solids.
Which has to do with the rocket fuel in there, which is...
Solid.
solid and pretty cool. I mean, they get this solid stuff gets that big thing way up there.
Exactly, and I mean, you know, we would love to give you the breakdown and specifics of where the shooters, I mean, the solids take you, but long story short is the MUOS 3 spacecraft is a monster. It weighs 50. The engine that's on the first stage of Atlas cannot get it to orbit. It's not.
No, that was the one in 551, right? One engine.
Well, actually, that's the one in the. I'm actually giving a tutorial as we have the live show. The 551 is the Centaur upper stage, which, you know, after this has had all its fuel burnt out. It relies on the Centaur upper stage to get it to where it needs to go. It gives it a more precise heading to go on, and Sean's laughing, and I don't know if he's laughing at me or, I mean, it's hard to follow.
I've heard that there's a lot of controversy about that. Can you please explain that?
Yeah, you're totally correct. The engine in the first stage, the RD-180, is built by, and here's a mouthful. This is why I did not have her memorize this part. It's the NPO Energomosh.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I can't even say it. But it's a Russian company. And during this past summer, there's a lot of, you know, controversy over the RD-180 because of its point of origin, and because we were sanctioning Russia because of their actions in the Ukraine, Crimea. So there's been a lot of controversy over it. And then the United States started doing some things, and they started making some sanctions, and Russia said, okay, fine, play that game. Okay. Their Deputy Prime Minister, Dmitry Rogozin, said, oh, really, you want to play that noise? Fine, we're not exporting any rocket engines from Russia to you for Department of Defense missions. And we're going to shut down all your GPS sites in Russia. And we're going to insert cooperating with you on the International Space Station by 2020.
Wow.
He was honked off.
Yeah,
he was not a happy camper. So it did cause a bit of controversy. And then United Launch Alliance said, you know what? It's time we had our own. And they reached out to Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin, and they started looking at what's called the DE4 rocket engine. And so they're talking now about replacing the engine that's currently in Atlas and Delta IV from the RD-180 to the BE-4.
Wow. When do you think that'll happen?
Probably, I would say, I would expect a lot to happen before 2016, 2017. It's going to take at least a couple of years, but it's only going to last a couple of years before you see a whole new booster coming out here. We are just about 20 minutes out from the launch of an Atlas V booster from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station Space Launch Complex 41 in Florida. And for you folks just tuning in, I am joined by the ever effervescent, ever beautiful, even under these Coleman stove lamps, which we're using to light our operation, Jasmine Staff. Now, Jasmine is a great trooper. She has been brought on to Spaceflight Insider America to talk a little bit about this, to kind of help me relay the goodness that is rocket launch to you. And with just 20 minutes out, we are not working any technical issues at this time, and the weather is cool, crisp, mosquitoes are ferocious, light cloud cover, and we are looking to go to see this thing right here. Come on, Jasmine. There we go. That right there. And see, we do this because Sean in Canada, you can see blood vessels appearing on his head as we do that. Stop pointing at the rocket. What is wrong with you people? So, hey, you know what, guys? It's really cool that this is a night launch, but I'm going to tell you one of my favorite launches of all time. And I'm not lying, because it was such a beautiful day, was MUOS 1. So with that, we're going to toss to the launch footage we have provided to us by United Launch Alliance of the flight of the very first MUOS spacecraft. Awesome. Take it away, Sean.
Status check. Go Atlas. Go Centaur.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition And we have a liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket carrying the first Mobile User Objective System mission for the United States Navy. MUOS will significantly enhance communications for U.S. forces on the move.
Wasn't that an incredible launch? I just think it's amazing what humans can do. So I have another question for you, Jason.
All right.
So these rockets, they're really big. They're huge. They're assembled all over the world. Well, the pieces come from all over the world, and then they're assembled. But how do we actually move something like that, something that's so big?
You know, that's an awesome question. And like as you were seeing in that video, you can see this big machine that delivers the rocket out to the pad. Well, they stack in what's known as the vertical integration facility. And basically, there's different ways of stacking a rocket. Russia does it where they do it horizontally. They stack everything on its side to get all assembled, and they raise it to the vertical. Well, at the VIF, as it's called, Vertical Integration Facility, they actually stack one on top of the other, and then the payload is the last bit, and they stack that on top. And then that gets made into this big vehicle that goes out. And it's actually 2 rail cars, so 2 trains.
2 trains?
Yeah, there's actually, if you go out, there's 2 train tracks that go out directly to the pad, and they actually, we've been out there, this thing goes by, and it looks like, sitting on the railroad. There's a guy sitting by, and the train.
Can you actually see it on there? Is it wrapped up?
Well, no. The booster goes. It's totally. It's not wrapped up. It's not covered, so you can actually see it go directly out to Slick 41, and then they process it out there. But yeah, it's really cool. We tried to get ULA. We tried to do a special feature just on your rail car, but for some reason we can't do that just yet. So maybe hearing us talk about it now, you'll let us do that at a later date. We would love to do a special feature on your rail car for Atlas V. So yeah, that's basically how to get to the pad. 2 trains, and it's funny because it's not that far away. I mean, the launch complex is here, and the VIF is here, so it doesn't have to go very far.
Okay.
So.
Nice. What about that big crawling machine that I saw over by KSC?
Now that's what NASA. That's what they used for Apollo. That they have 2 of those, and we had a great feature. We actually got to go inside that thing. It's like a little city in there. I mean, this thing is huge. It's a beast. I mean, it's
amazing. It looks like something from a science fiction movie.
It's so cool. It has rooms and offices inside this big moving vehicle.
Really? Wow.
You need to go to our YouTube page because I'm pretty sure we have that feature there.
That thing is really cool.
It is really awesome. But it was used for Apollo. It was used on Shuttle. And they're now working to refurbish it for use on NASA's new Space Launch System, which is the heavy lift booster that we hope to see fly here in 2018. So it's still, NASA's repurposing all the stuff that it had on the shuttle for future use. But the thing that I think you mentioned a bit earlier was that this doesn't all happen in Florida.
Right.
There's a lot of
That's the fascinating part about it. I mean, there's so many different components made all over, like we were talking about Russia, Zurich, all over the United States. I mean, where else are things made? Oh
God, I know they're in California. I know that Decatur, Alabama is where the booster itself is assembled. Of course, the engine, the rocket engine itself of the RD-180 is produced in Russia still, although technically there was a lot of talk about Rocketdyne. Yeah, the American company actually building it in the United States, getting the schematics and the specs for it and build, but that never really happened. So I guess now, consider what's happened, that it's not ever going to happen. But United Launch Alliance has about 16 of those on standby. They have about 16 of those, and so they say they can last about 2016 for the RD-180. Wow. The first stage is built in Decatur, Alabama, I believe. And of course, the payload fairing for this one, now I'm going to say I don't know everything. I don't know if the 400 configuration, that smaller fairing, is also made in Zurich, but I know that this one is.
Okay.
The boosters are made in California by Aerojet Rocketdyne, and with that, I'm gonna segue into that cool rocket we were talking about. United Launch Alliance, of course, has been really required to take a look at the RD-180 and the what they call legacy or heritage systems that it uses. The Atlas V and Delta IV are both kind of old. They've been in service for a long, long time, and so United Launch Alliance said, look, let's do the next big awesome. So they have what's called the Next Generation Launch System, which is a big long word for new rocket. So they're going to develop a new rocket, and it's not going to use the RD-180. it will use these solids for larger payloads that are on Atlas V tonight that you're probably seeing. If we're 17 or 16.
Status check. Go Alice. Go Centaur.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition. And we have liftoff. Liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket carrying the first Mobile User Objective System mission for the United States Navy. MUOS will significantly enhance communications for U.S. forces on the move.
Hey guys, and we're back. You're probably saying, well, what happens? Well, see, this is what did happen. I mean, really, seriously, what was that all about? Well,
What's going on with the rocket?
Well, it is rocket science, and Jason did say, oh, this is going to be an easy launch. No technical issues, weather is, yeah. You know, let me just stop speaking one of these days and make the world happy. What we have going on, Jazzy, is this.
Okay.
Can I call you Jazzy?
Go right ahead.
You sure?
Yeah, please.
You cool with that? All right, because you are kind of cool. You see, I don't look cool. She's anyway.
Like DJ Jazzy Jack.
DJ
right?
Jazzy
Yeah.
Jazzy Jameson, yeah, or pretty soon it'll be that works. DJ Jazzy Jameson, we got to use that. So, well, what happened basically is the first hold we heard was because of upper level winds, and right now down at the surface we're not really feeling like there's no wind.
It's beautiful here.
But you go way up there in the stratosphere, and they send balloons up, and they watch these balloons just go get yanked. So they're saying that is an issue, and there also was an RF frequency issue, which we haven't really gotten a lot of clarification on that. The launch slipped from 7:49 to 7:54. We are hearing that now the launch is now slated to take place at 7:54 from Space Launch Complex 41 in Florida. But essentially, besides the noisy photo bomber, I'm going to throw a brick at in a minute. You, sir, not the rocket. You. Anyway.
So what is the launch period? How long do we have to wait until they say it's definitely a no-go?
Well, they have 44 minutes, and so tonight, from what my understanding is, at 8:27, if they don't get the bird off the pad by 8:27, they will have to recycle for tomorrow.
Oh boy.
So, and I don't know what the weather conditions are showing like tonight, but again, as Jameson pointed out, Jameson, you're just nothing but trouble. That's the cat we got over here. He's just nothing. See, yeah. But Jazzy, as she pointed out, you know, the weather here is
It's gorgeous.
it's
I
cool.
can't even feel anything.
It's cool, but
Nothing.
there's no wind at all. I mean, none. And the stars are all out. The sky is crystal clear. We don't have, there's a little bit of patchy cloud here and there, but by and large, the weather is gorgeous. And as you can see behind us, you know, from what we're hearing from our folks in Canada, you know, the video feed you get isn't too great, but you can definitely see. Come on, Jazzy, do the point. See, there it is. That is the rocket. That's how close we bring you to the goodness. We are right here, folks, of the Atlas V 551 rocket launch for MUOS 3. This is tonight's first launch attempt. It will open, the window will actually originally open at 7:43, which of course is no longer the case. They had one slip to 7:49, and the last I've heard so far is, It's now 7:59. We are now hearing that the window has been pushed to 7:59. Now, for those of you that are starting to go, oh shucks, trust me. Okay, well, we don't be promoting the competition. What's wrong? You can't take these people anywhere. You know, you can dress folks up, but you just can't make them dance, right? Isn't that? No. Okay.
Something like that.
Something like that. So, Jasmine, your first launch.
My first launch.
Now, are you
pretty
really
cool.
are you like really a space person? Do you think, or is this something that excites you when you see this kind of stuff? I mean, you've never been out here before, so
Right.
your first person perspective.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking right now? I mean, this is a rocket. It's on the pad. It's about ready to go and send something into space. What is that like? I see everybody smiling
right.
around me, so I'm jaded old guy. Tell me a bit about new person things.
Well, you know, space exploration is the final frontier, and I grew up watching Star Trek, and so I have illusions that someday maybe I'll go to the International Space Station or something. Like this is, I think, one of the. I just think it's amazing that human beings can do this. They can get on something like that, go into space. They can figure out how to work all of that, and so I'm really excited. And it's cool to be here in person because I've heard a lot of stories. Like back in the day, apparently. People who lived close around here, their windows would blow out, you know, because the force was just so loud. So I'm looking forward to seeing like how loud it is, if you can smell it, you know. The rocket
You can. There's
fuel.
two things that Jasmine talked about there that I want to touch on. She talked about the windows getting blown out. One of the things that a lot of people, you at home don't really know, they show you these clean videos.
Yeah.
Well, when we're at the Space Center, Kennedy Space Center, the rockets, when they go up, they cause all the windows to just shake. The whole sides of the building are shaking. It's that powerful. The light is like looking into a blowtorch. It's literally blinding. At night, it's overwhelming. You can expect to see the camera on this on our little cam here to be blown out. You're not going to see anything but a glare. I'm willing to predict. You're not going to see my face anymore. You're just going to see this big round noggin. And it's going to be when the Atlas V with the solids go off. It is incredibly bright. It is stunningly, shockingly loud. We're going to lose Jasmine, by the way, when we do get ready for launch, because this is her first launch, and this is our kind of our flagship, our first attempt at getting video from the Causeway when we were having success. Jasmine actually has experience. So I've seen 20, 30, 5 launches. So I'm going to stay with you guys. Jasmine's going to go run and go, oh my God, the rocket launch! Ah! That's actually what I normally do. Or maybe Jameson will do that. If he does it, get a picture, would you?
I will.
Now, Jazz, you mentioned something else about when people ride these things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very funny that you should mention that, because the Atlas V has been tapped. It was tapped actually by 2 companies that have been tapped by NASA to provide commercial spacecraft to deliver astronauts to the International Space Station. That's very intuitive of you to know that. And it provides us a great segue into what the Atlas could be doing in the future, which is the CST-100 and the Dream Chaser space plane, which is now, they said, okay, we're not going to use the Dream Chaser. So Dragon, SpaceX has their own rocket, they have their own spacecraft, they want it all in-house. But Boeing with the CST-100 spacecraft said, we want the Atlas V. And it'll be the 401 config. Well, it won't be the 401 because there won't be a fairing on it. But it'll be the nice slender stick, very simple, with a capsule mounted on top. So it is amazing to know that the Atlas booster has been around for so long. You know, I mean, it launched Glenn, very reliable, hyper reliable. It launched Glenn to orbit. It's been used for every type of payload you can possibly imagine, and now it's being considered to launch astronauts to the International Space Station.
So now I've heard that they're changing things to make it a little bit more economically viable.
Yeah.
Like they're reusing certain things instead of it just. Now they're actually Falcon 9. Is that correct?
Well, that's actually SpaceX's Falcon 9, and you know, we are just hearing now we are green for upper level wind, and that would mean that we are go for a 7:59 launch time. If I can get 1 minute, please. We are now 8:04 for the new T0, which gives us. I got the rookies out here like oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh, it's delayed. I mean, come on, people. Winds are green. They're still working to arrange RF issues, the frequencies thing that they talked about earlier. And the new T0 is now 8:04. Now, we apologize to viewers at home for the countdown clock. That's usually, as you know, SpaceFlight Insider is primarily a volunteer organization. And that's usually the thing that I've volunteered to do. So I can't do that right now. But 8:04 is the new T0. And they're still working on RF range frequency. And with that,
What is the deal with the RF frequency?
Well, it's like this.
Interference?
Well, man, it's a safety thing. We mentioned the range termination software. There are, especially with the MUOS payload, because it's a communication satellite,
Right.
and because of the flight termination software, if a bad signal goes to, say, bad signal, isn't that nice and technical, folks? If a bad signal hits the rocket,
Right.
it could cause it to explode.
Wow.
It could cause that flight termination system to activate, or it could mess up the satellite itself.
Where would that bad signal originate?
I don't know. But to be honest with you, we have not received any information as to where this RF signal is coming from. For long-time viewers of space operations, we know that people make life interesting. There have been more than a few launches that have been scrubbed because a sailboat was out. Hey, I want to steer the rocket launch. I'm going to steer my boat in. Hey, why is the Coast Guard shooting at me? You know, I mean, they don't. Yeah, we actually had a lot of boats come in and cause issues. We've had a lot of very, very strange technical issues that have popped up out of nowhere. Electrotripification or something for Ares 1. I'm not kidding.
Well, it is rocket science. It's pretty delicate, right?
It is very delicate, but you mentioned. One second. They're polling right now. Rhian. Okay, he doesn't want us to. We look to like co-eds or something, I guess. So I'm hang on a second. What was that go to? The RFI issues are still creeping in, and so there will be no launch at this time until they get that situation cleared. The upper level winds have, like I said, kind of cleared out, and the weather's not being an issue tonight, so that is good at least. But again, it's like Jasmine said, there's a lot of things that have to go just right for when these things take place, and I'm glad that you mentioned the reusability feature, because I think. I had to collect my thoughts there for a second, folks, because I want to be careful how I say this. You're correct. SpaceX has worked, and they've done something that's, to be quite honest, it's unheard of. What normally happens when these rockets are done is they come back in, they burn up the atmosphere, or they splash down in the Atlantic, and they're never using it. So you have these hyper expensive rocket engines. They're just thrown away. They're single use.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
but that was seemingly inevitable before, right?
Well, that's just what we thought was for the longest time, and this journalist in particular thought that's just the way things were, that this was going to be this late. And what turns out that range is green. They have cleared the RF issue. We still have no idea what that was. Do we have a new T0 yet? We're trying to get a new T0. 104? 804 is the new T0 that we're hearing. I think they're still going to try to work for that time. You'll have to forgive us. We are in this is like the pioneer days of SpaceFlight Insider's live webcast. We're out here. I got a runny nose, mosquitoes flying around. I got photo bombers. I got DJ Jazzy Jensen. Say again. We know. We've just heard. Yep, we got our producer up in Canada, Sean Costello, is confirming that the range is green, and we'll move ahead with the new T0 of 804. Is that correct, Sean? So far, 804 is the new time, which gives us 4 minutes. Terminal count has started, so we are doing very well towards the launch of tonight's United Launch Alliance Atlas 5551. Before we let this young lady escape here in a couple minutes, I want to touch on one thing she mentioned. I think, that United Launch Alliance is leading the writing on the wall.
Towards
that's
a 8:04 p.m. Eastern Time liftoff.
System to go to Jeff Bezos and get his engine, to go away from the Russian engine. SpaceX is launching at a much lower cost than they are. So you have to. It's a bit. So it's actually starting to do the United States model of competition among competitors. If you put that into play, it'll cause the loss of the launch cost to go to orbit down.
Through the terminal count, you'll be hearing the team call out that Atlas LO2 topping has been secured, followed about a minute later by the call out for transferring the Atlas and Centaur stages from ground facility power to internal battery
the rocket
power.
hit the side of the
At
boat.
T-minus 1 minute 55 seconds, the team will command the launch sequencer to start, followed shortly by securing the Centaur LH2 and LO2 topping activity. At T-minus 1 minute 40 seconds, the team will command the flight control system to launch enable and arm the flight termination system. In the final minute, the Atlas tanks will be verified at flight pressures, followed with verification of the Centaur tank pressures. The final status check of Atlas, Centaur, and MUOS 3 readiness is conducted at T-minus 25 seconds. Seconds before liftoff, the RD-180...
It is so cool, and you're going to see this. We're doing this because Sean hates us when we do that. So you're going to see this launch, but I think at this point, DJ Jasmine, I'm going to let you bump. So we're going to let her go enjoy the launch. We are very glad that you could join us for this.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's
such
just
a pleasure.
So awesome to have you on and have you chat with us. We're going to let her get unmiked because we're all got electronic stuff falling over. And I'm going to be taking over the rest of the launch commentary from this point. We're very happy that you're joining us tonight at SpaceFlight Insider Live. We really are trying to give you everything in one house. So we got this show going on. We got, look at this, see? And you look at, you're probably saying, why is Jasmine? Well, first of all, she's a genius. She's hyper intelligent. And then you look at this. I mean, this scares small school children. I know, no self-reference. So with that, we're going to start wrapping it up so that Jasmine can go, and we'll just do the launch countdown. And with that, Jazzy, we'll pick back up afterwards. We have a special announcement for all of our SpaceFlight Insider fans about a bold new effort we're going to be doing to go where no one has gone before. We're out.
Status check. Go Alice. Go Centaur.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
All right, folks, we're about a minute away from the launch of an Atlas 5551 from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. This is Jason Rhian, who's stumbling over every word he utters, because this is going to be an awesome first for SpaceFlight Insider. This is the first time we've been live from the Causeway with video for you so that you can watch that. Welcome to SpaceFlight Insider Live from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. 5551 takes to the skies. MUOS 3 spacecraft, warfighter of the United States Air Force. As you can see, folks, it gets very bright here, and you're about to hear the awesomeness. Reflecting off my head. Look, Ma, it's a launch. We are here. There's some very young viewers here tonight who are wishing the rocket a very safe, very successful mission as it goes to orbit. You hear them going? They're going, go MUOS, go. So they're very excited, and we are seeing no issues that the Atlas V is currently working its way through as it goes to the stratosphere. A very beautiful night on a just amazing launch tonight, folks, as we watch this Atlas V take off. This is the third launch, as we noticed, of one of the MUOS spacecraft, and there are two more that are set to go. But the first launch of the United Launch Alliance, and I'm sure they are all very happy and giving a high five. SRB's burnout has just taken place. We're waiting to see the solids fall away from the Atlas V. We are waiting. They're very visible from the Causeway, folks. You can actually see the solids tumbling away. And it's a very exciting moment, a very key mission, part of the mission. All 5 FRBs we're here have successfully jettisoned from the booster, leaving just the core stage, the Centaur upper stage, and the payload itself of the MUOS 3 spacecraft. So everything apparently is going nominally, as is determined in the business, as for tonight's launch.
Woo! Yeah!
SpaceFlight Insider, folks. No one brings you closer. To that, folks, it's all Jason all the time. But actually, it's not. It's Jazzy, Jameson, and another Jay, which we need to get you guys on screen real quick. And what we're going to do is just please leave your microphone on. Jasmine, if you'd like to have a seat. Jameson, if you'd like to get grab the boss man behind us there. You need to get behind us, Jefferson. We got a very special announcement for you guys. How was that? Well, we'd like to make... It's not all about us, but in this case, we want to talk about something that we're trying to do for you guys. As you know, the insider in SpaceFlight Insider is not Jason, it is not Jazzy, it is not Jameson, or this folk here, this guy right here, which is Jefferson Michaelis. It is you guys. We bring the news to you, and we let you interact with us. We want you to ask the questions. Well, we're not just United States focused. The world needs to get excited about spaceflight. That's just all there is to it. It doesn't matter if you're from the Soviet Union, if you're from China, or if you're from Brazil. And for our Portuguese-speaking friends, we want to let you know that we love you guys south of the border, so much so that we formed this team to make SpaceFlight Insider Brazil. That's right, SpaceFlight Insider now has a Brazilian chapter, which will be opening in the coming months, which will be part of our global effort to bring spaceflight exploration, and excitement of which, to you. Oh, by the way, we want you to come forward and say that in Portuguese. Just say, hey, let folks know about this. I'm going to get unmiked here because we are very hyper-technical. So grab that and speak into that, please.
Hello, folks. Boa noite. It's a pleasure, a prazer, levar SpaceFlight Insider Brazil. The Triple J team is here. We'll make it happen.
It's actually the 4J.
4J,
There's 4Js. You're leaving me out, man. I mean, this is the J team.
Yeah.
Not the A team. This is the J team.
Right, even better.
Yes.
Even better.
Even better. See you in Brazil. Vejo vocês no Brasil.
So with that, folks, we're going to close tonight's show. And we, again, thank you for hanging in with the technical difficulties, with all the fun stuff that goes on when we're out here in the middle of nowhere. Again, this is a test run, which is why we haven't promoted a whole lot. We had a little bit of plug on LinkedIn, a little bit on Facebook, but as we do this, we've learned all the mistakes of what to do and what not to do, and what works and what does not work, and how long the batteries last, and RF signals and upper level winds, and oh my God, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, we get the whole thing out here. So we've done all of that, and starting from this point on, you're going to see our live show become better. We're going to actually bring on guest speakers like we did for EFT1. But we have to wrap up now and get ready to leave because they are shooting us. But with that, go MUOS 3, go Atlas 5, go SpaceFlight Insider Brazil.
Yeah.
Good night, folks.
Good night, thank you.
Folks.